John Les here, Les Archery Adventures. Series testing, successful hunting. I've got a new head by VPA to test, and it's the Omega, but with bleeders. Earlier this year, I tested their new Omega Broadhead, and you can check out the video test of that head. It did really well. But now they've come out with their first head with bleeders. And man, it's really intriguing looking. So super eager to put this head to the test. And for the test, I'm going to be using my protocol for 2024. And for a detailed description of all the tests that I do, why I do them, how I quantify the results, and so forth, please check out the video that I posted earlier this year called 2024 Broadhead Test Process, and it'll explain it all to you. And so for the shooting, I'm going to be using mostly my Elite Era. I'm just loving that bow, been shooting it all throughout 2024. And I'm also, for the accuracy testing, using my Killer Instinct SWAT X1 crossbow that I'm also really loving. And for all the arrows, I'm using Bishop Archery arrows and bolts because they're just exceptional. All right, let's tune on in here and check out this Omega with bleeders and then put it to the test. Here's a good look at this head, and man, this has got a lot of cool features going on here. I know VPA is traditionally not made bleeders for their two-blade heads because they just viewed them as kind of a weak point. So when they came out with the idea of doing bleeders with this one, they wanted to make sure they did it right, and it sure does look like they've done a lot of things right with this. So let me go ahead and explain this head. First of all, it's the foundation of the Omega, but they've hollowed out the ferrule to add in this bleeder blade, and I'll go through that in a little bit, but let's start with the materials. The main blade and then the bleeders, they're two different chunks, are each machined out of a single piece of S7 tool steel, and they're brought to a Rockwell hardness of 56 to 58. This is the 150 grain model, so it's got like a 125 grain base, and then the bleeder adds that extra weight, 25, to get it to 150 grains. The cutting diameter is 1 1/8 inches this way, and then with the bleeder, it's 0.82 inches. So the total cut on this short little head is almost 2 inches, 1.95 inches of cut. And beyond the end of the arrow, it extends just 0.88 inches. So one of the shorter blades, one of the shorter broadheads on the market. The main blades are 0.053 inches thick by my measurement, and then this bleeder is a whopping 0.094 inches thick. So this is not a weak little bleeder. This is one fat chunk of steel bleeder right here that's really going to open up a wound channel that's going to be hard to close up. The bevel angle on this main blade is 26 degrees, and on the bleeder is 35 degrees. And let me show you what it looks like in just its components. So here's the head just in and of itself, and you see it's not the same. Let me get it up here. It's not the same as the regular Omega because it has this hollowed out section. These bleeders won't fit with the original Omega. You have to get this one in order for them to fit. And then here's the bleeder, and you see the bleeder is this really stout chunk of steel, and it slides in to this area. It doesn't just slide in like that, but you kind of arc it around to get it in. Okay, kind of like that. I'm not going to mess with it right now, but you arc it in, and so then the weight of the bleeder is supported by the main broadhead itself. So really durable design. It's not just held in place by a pin or something like that. And then it's got this little ring at the bottom that has a bevel to it that holds it snugly in place. So really cool design there. For resharpening, the big feature with these that they like is that you can just lay it flat and sharpen. It just lies flat like that, okay? And you can just sharpen it just like that on any flat surface, really any flat surface. I'd use the Stay Sharp Guide diamond plate system for sharpening it, but you can also just touch it up on anything, really, on a rock, on the top of your window, on your truck, the bottom of your coffee cup. There's so many different things you can sharpen it up on, and it's really easy to find that bevel. And then you do the same thing with the bleeders. They have a different angle, but it's really easy to find that bevel, and then just to sharpen it. You just find the bevel right there, and then just sharpen it like that on each side. So really cool design. Eager to put it to the test and see how it performs. It got the 9 ring. It only took 137 grams of force to cut through the wire, which is a 10 on a 10-point scale. Plus, it gets a bonus for being under the threshold of 200. It penetrated 9 inches, which is a 10 on a 10-point scale. It took an additional 55 grams of force to cut through the wire, which is an 8.9 on a 10-point scale. It penetrated through 59 layers, which is an 8.43 on a 10-point scale. It's in perfect shape after the 3 shots through the MDF. You really can't even tell it's been shot. And you still can't even tell it's been shot at all after 2 shots through the steel plate. And look at these holes it makes. I mean, really nice kind of square holes with a little bit of rotation in the blades there. Nice wound channel. It rotated 45 degrees at 11.5 inches, which is a really good rotation in gel. Here it is after all the durability testing, and man, what a tank of a broadhead through the MDF, through the steel plate, and the concrete. If I were to just clean those blades, I really don't even think you could tell that it's been shot. Really top tier durability. So what'd you think? Man, this head performed extremely well. I had high hopes for it, and it definitely lived up and even surpassed my hopes and expectations. And it got an extremely high score. Matter of fact, it got one of the highest scores of any fixed blade head that I've ever tested. And that's saying quite a bit because the standards are a little higher this year in some of the areas, but it still did extremely well. It did so well that in my talking with VPA, they've given me a discount code. And so now for any of the VPA heads, and they've got a lot of them, you can use my discount code LUSK10 and save 10%. And that's saying quite a bit for VPA. So I hope that comes in useful for you. But stay tuned for the scores of this broadhead, and man, you'll just see how it performed in every area, but you can compare it to your hunting needs, your setup, and see if it's really a good fit for you. And stay tuned for a list of those scores, as well as you can check out the description box where I give a detailed accounting of how it did in each of the tests. And stay tuned for a list of all the broadhead discount codes like the one for VPA that I have. Now, I can't update the slide each time because I've already uploaded a lot of the videos in advance each time I gain a new discount code like VPA, but I do update them in the description box. So if you read the description box at the end of the description of every video, I put all the discount codes that I have, and I have a lot of them. So you can find a lot of different broadheads to suit your needs and get them at a good discount. So thanks so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you next time.